the medulla, the pons. Here you can see the arachnoid spanning across the space here at the base of the brain. The optic nerves are very obvious, as are the olfactory nerves. Here are our temporal lobes, and here is the uncus on either side. The uncus, remember, is the most mesial part of the temporal lobe. The tentorium that fit in here has been removed, but we can see a slight groove right along here where the tentorium sat. So there is no evidence in this brain of any of the temporal lobe herniating medially over the edge of the tentorium. It's a beautiful specimen. Unfortunately, this cancer patient died of complications secondary to a cell transplant. Here you can see how soft and
The wrist is composed of 8 carpal bones arranged into 2 distinct rows, a proximal row and a distal row. These small bones provide flexibility to the wrist. There are 4 bones in each row.
Those newly hatched larvae swim around their cells, feeding on a liquid food that nurse bees secrete for them. Then their head and their legs start to differentiate as they transform into pupae. Here's that same pupation process seen from above with varroa mites running around in the cells. Next, the tissue reorganizes in their body and the pigment slowly develops in their eyes. In the last step, their skin shrivels up and they sprout hair.
July 27th, a recreational boater called in that they had seen a distressed whale a few miles offshore from the Rockaways in New York. On Wednesday morning, our teams used a number of tools to make some initial cuts and were able to remove some lines and buoys. But this was an incredibly complicated situation. Whatever gear was holding the whale down was very heavy and very large. So we worked to bring in 2 vessels, and these were able to grapple the gear on Thursday morning and bring it up to the surface. It was nearly 4,000 pounds of gear. They actually had to use bolt cutters and hacksaws to cut through the heavy gear that was around the whale's tail, and it was eventually freed at the end of the day. Quick reporting of an entanglement is so important, and it possibly saved this animal's life.
Đây là con nấc rất to này, khả năng là vào khoảng 1 tháng rồi, cái này nó to được cái này. Ôi sợ. Cháu bé 6 tuổi. Cái này phải 1 tháng nó mới to.
How small her audience is going to be appreciating that. Is that cool? Oh. And she can say guess what that is.
So awesome.
Oh, wow, there's another one.
Yay! What'd you get?
Wow, there's another one. Look at all these came from the esophagus.
And you can see so inspiration, expiration, they totally deflate. And they're right back to where they were before we started. Okay. So now with the PEEP valve,
Stay expanded, yeah.
see how long they stay?
Upgraded.